you've got this beautiful book, Happiness is an Inside Job. A lot of profound, easy to use stuff in a fun way put together. Talk a little bit of, just give people who don't have the book and, just a sense of what you're trying to do and, where you've been so they can best give feedback in chat.
Hey, yes. So I'm a therapist, counselor, work with trauma and addiction. During the pandemic, I created a course, Living a Rise Up Mindset, was for my clients. Really, just everyone was sort of in fight, flight, freeze, and was confused what's going on. And so I created this course, daily practices, tools that anyone can use, right, to help just sort of calm the nervous system. Giving people visualization exercises. But it went deeper, right? Went into self-esteem work and forgiveness and self-development work to get focused and start creating this inner mindful life while the chaos is out here, and then trying to work on finding some inner peace through these principles, through these steps and practices. So it went really well. Nobody wanted their money back. Everybody was really happy, good reviews. And so I had the idea to create like a book, and then I had it illustrated. And then it just kind of sat in ebook world doing nothing. And then I meditated. I've just been sitting with this. I really felt like there was a calling that this is something that could help more people. And you really can't be that happy if you're not regulated. So part of the happiness title came from, once we really get to know ourselves and find the inner peace and regulate and can feel all the emotions, we can actually experience more happiness. And then also helping people expand and hold happiness. So teaching people about trauma, or why maybe they have a hard time sitting with peace or happiness, and really helping people get more into their authentic self. So there's a lot there. There's a lot of resources I give. It connects to a lot of different people that have helped me in my journey. A lot of authors, a lot of different tools and techniques. So I definitely am not recreating the wheel, you guys, but I feel like I'm doing it in a playful, immersive way with the illustrations, and really giving people like these playbook activities. So it's kind of like giving you sort of the lesson and then giving you some things. I have 3 years of somatic experiencing training by Dr. Peter Levine that I really integrate this mind-body connection into the immersive practices. And then I started the podcast kind of to sell the book, but then I fell in love with giving things away, like these little tips and tools for free. Also working with trauma addiction, there's a high burnout rate. I worked inpatient. I worked for years, and then I worked in PHP, IOP residential as a clinical director, finally opened my own practice, and now I supervise. So there is an element, one of my friends I went to, got my master's in clinical psychology with, she texts me, I got the book, I'm in group right now with, my guys, and we're doing, then this is a group of men, coming out of prison. And she's like, they loved it, right? Working on their emotions. So I was like, it's also for clinicians to use with their groups. It's women, but it's also men. There's emotional intelligence and leadership. There's such a link. And we really get that even from, working in organizations now, that's not just a popular word, it's a real thing,
So can you give a little bit of like the story about why you did the book? And you alluded to it there, of who's used the book. Where have you seen it? I'm assuming you've used it with your clients. I'm assuming, as you said, other people have used it different places. So this is almost like if you're on the podcast interview and you're giving me the story behind the book, whatever. My husband really encouraged me to write it, and then I started sharing it with my patients, and then somebody started using it in a prison. Somebody here, so this helps to sell the book, but it also helps us to understand why we should care about the book. We meaning, the general audience.
Yeah, I was sitting with my hairdresser, and she's always so delightful and just, bubbly and, all this stuff. And she was just asking about the book, and I actually had it, and I was like, oh, this is what it's about. And it's about, working on processing forgiveness and working on, and I also am a CSAT, so a certified sex addiction therapist. I work with betrayal trauma. I work with, couples, going through healing from some really deep stuff. So there's all these different things. And she was like, she just started getting teary and talking about being more in the authentic self and being more rooted in who we really are, and not, how we should be, and all these kind of things. And she got teary. And so it's just interesting to see that it isn't just, it isn't just for clients. It really is for anyone who's wanting to develop and know themselves better. And I think it's such a process. I think I had to grow up and know myself at a really early age. So it was something that I was forced to do. And even as a survivor, I had to be in my intuition. And so I teach that through the work as well. And I think a lot of people are living a life of shoulds, like I should do this, or I should go to medical school, or be a lawyer, or be this, or be the perfect wife, or be whatever it is. But I'm not really happy. I'm not really in my purpose. And so there's a lot of also helping people navigate back to themselves so that they are truly on their path of purpose. What really brings us joy is, I mean, giving back and, helping others and community and connection. So I think it's really beautiful.
What's powerful is, unlike a book that just talks and explains this stuff, you take a concept, you give them a good size, page of explanation, and then like a page of here's this exercise to do, about limiting beliefs or whatever. So it's a true workbook, but it's concise, right? And it's, I mean, it's interesting. I haven't really seen anything. I've seen a lot of stuff, but it's like, boy, it's packed with, any 2 pages could change your life, right? Give you perspective. I mean, you're very interactive.
It's very immersive. I think the visuals pull you into kind of go deeper.
Yep.
And I do give a lot of visualization exercises. And I do talk a lot about trauma and all that, because that's one of my specialties. But where are belief systems keeping us stuck? And I even have a CMAT too. So I work also on financial disorders. So it's looking at, where are my financial beliefs maybe keeping me stuck? Where am I believing that money is bad, right? Like, and I come from some of that. I realized having to do that work, my own work. I mean, there was just all these conflicting sort of beliefs. And I was like, no, I think we can serve and have financial wealth and happiness. I don't think burning out serves any of us, right? The givers also need to thrive so that people can get better too. Self-compassion is all in there, taking care of self. The oxygen mask, right? I'm sure we have all heard that. We've got to put it on though. Yeah.
Well, let's talk for you in your case, because you've got the kind of book. I mean, it's like, at one level, you could almost envision an organization or a company buying copies, maybe putting their logo on it, maybe having you tailor it. Perhaps maybe they give, you work with them to only do 30 pages instead of 96 pages. But the idea would be that, yeah, I mean, there may very well be something there. I mean, Jack, Patty, let's get your thoughts.
Well, I like the book a lot. It's got a lot of stuff that I teach in it, so I'm very much simpatico with what you're doing. I love the book. I love the way it's laid out. A lot of the for people who haven't seen it, let me see if I can hold this up. Looks kind of like this. It's an 8.5 by 11 book, but there's a lot of artwork all through it, which is, I think, makes it much more readable. And it's got great techniques. I love all the quotes. I love that you give people a tremendous amount of resources. Watch this YouTube, buy that book, watch that TED Talk, whatever. Do this meditation that's on YouTube. So I think that's all good. I love the idea of your laboratory where you take people in and help them to connect with their intuition. So I think it's a good book. I don't want people to rush through it, but I also want them to keep going through it, so not just do it and put it aside, but here's like maybe a companion thing you could put on your website they could download or something. Because if they get through all that, they're going to be in a really good space. So I think good job. Great job.